It's a beautiful day. It's a fantastic day. It's an awesome day. And we are super, super excited. Guess what? It is the Femi Walsh Prestige Partnership that is being flagged off right here at the Federal Palace Hotel. Oh my God.
That thing sums awesomeness. We're being at a place where every conversation about Nigeria's independence happened, and then also thinking about royalty, you know, things that make us feel like we're kings and queens when they come into this place. I mean, I'm at this point.
You know, talk about the scenery, the ambience, the rooms. This hotel is actually really good. And the fact that Femi Walsh is partnering with Federal Palace Hotel doesn't just give me the chills, like it makes me happy. Happy.
We're going to be having exclusive events coverage, and we're going to bring in our expertise to come and give them that edge amongst
that finesse.
Taking the brand globally through our media. My God. It's not something you want to miss out on this journey that I just started. We're going places, sis.
The Federal Palace Hotel was established in 1960 and constructed by the A.G. Leventis Group. Perhaps one of the most notable thoughts about Federal Palace is that it was used as the venue for independence celebration of Nigeria in 1960. Over the years, the Federal Palace has now become a world-class ultra-modern facility with a touch of elegance. The hotel, which has been recognized nationally and internationally, has become a tourist attraction for many. Perhaps this is the reason Femi Walsh Group decided to partner with the Federal Palace by supporting the hotel with resources and equipment for coverage of all the hotel's events. The president and CEO of Femi Walsh Group, Victor Oluwafemi Walsh, accompanied by the vice president, Idahosa Osamanze, paid a visit to the hotel during the exhibition of the popular Iriri Arts Gallery. It was a day of joy for each of the artists to see that the president of Femi Walsh Group was actually fascinated by their art pieces. Coordinator of the Arts Gallery also expressed his enthusiasm and joy, highlighting the exciting prospects and opportunities arising from the partnership.
Thank you so much, SOUQ TV, for coming over. It is about celebrating art and creativity. We themed it Luxury and Legacies exhibition. Luxury, as we all know, art is luxury, and the legacies that are left behind by artists are their crafts. So that is why we themed it Luxuries and Legacies exhibition.
Ambassador Victor Walsh encouraged artists while commending their creativity. The general manager, Herman Britt, was excited that the collaboration between Femi Walsh Group and the Federal Palace Hotel exchanged pleasantries with the president and told Souqnews TV about his joy.
The energy is fantastic, and the support that you've given us is absolutely superb. So, yeah, watch this space, and your support is valued, and I love the partnership that you guys give us. So, looking forward to the journey with you guys.
Other members of the senior management of Federal Palace who were on hand to receive the ambassador and members of the Femi Walsh team include Temitope Ifiodun, HR Manager, Billy Uguechi, Events and Banqueting Manager, Chef Chris Onyanu, the Executive Chef of Federal Palace, Oluwatoyin Sulaiman, Housekeeping Manager, Dr. Arogundade, Digital Sales Executive. Each of this senior management staff shared their feelings about the collaboration.
We're actually so excited about this partnership with SOUQ News. It's going to, be beneficial for both Federal Palace Hotel and SOUQ News. And we know that all our new offerings will be extended to the larger world. We are actually doing things differently now. Federal Palace is actually doing a lot of things differently now. Our staff are ready to give the best of the best services to our guests.
To cover our events and take care of Federal Palace in terms of media and all that.
The Femi Walsh Group, consisting of all the different subsidiaries like Souqnews TV, the ALFM, Novacraft, and the Machinery, look forward to doing great things with Federal Palace Hotel as we kick off the Prestige Partnership.
We're going places, and yes, with Femi Walsh Prestige Partnership, what we want to do is make sure that we're giving the clients of Federal Palace the best of the best of the very best in terms of coverage, streaming, videography, photography. So if you have a wedding ceremony coming up, you got the birthday party coming up, whatever you have coming up, all you gotta do is make sure you contact Femi Walsh, because we give you the best of the best of the very, very best.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Keep watching.
My name is Uyai. I'm a textured artist, and keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Alexander Beja, and keep watching SOUQ News.
Karim Joseph Aramide is my name. I'm a visual artist, and I'm going to tell you this: keep watching SOUQ.
Hello, I'm Billy Macaulay Oguchi of Federal Palace Hotel. I'm the banqueting and events manager. Keep watching SOUQ News.
I'm Temitope Ifidon, HR manager of Federal Palace Hotel. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Thank you, guys.
Federal Palace.
See you soon.
Nigeria, rich in traditional and cultural heritage, is intentional about promoting history and retaining cultural values. The country has succeeded in preserving its identities and that of the forefathers for ages through folklores, folk tales, traditional ceremonies, community-based initiatives, cuisine, and most notably, museums and cultural centers. These institutions serve as invaluable repositories of history, ensuring that future generations remain connected to their roots and appreciate the diverse cultural tapestry of the nation. In Nigeria, there are over 38 museums comprising national, state, and privately owned institutions scattered across the country. Each of these museums plays a crucial role in safeguarding Nigeria's vast historical wealth, with collections that reflect the uniqueness of different ethnic groups, traditional practices, and historical transitions over time. In Lagos, the National Museum, located at the center of the city in Onikon, claims a notable collection of Nigerian art, including pieces of statuary, carvings, archaeological and ethnographical exhibits, among others. Of particular significance is the terracotta human head, known as Jema head, dated between 900 and 200 BC, which is part of the renowned Nok culture. The piece is named after Jema, the village where it was discovered. The museum is administered by the National Commission for Museums and Monuments and remain a key educational and historical attractions for visitors. Another prominent artifact housed within the museum is the famous Benin bronze head, an evidence to the artistic excellence of the Benin Kingdom.
The museum has a lot of functions, some of which are to educate, to entertain, research, interpretation, conservation and preservation of our cultural heritage. And then the museum was established, Lagos Museum particularly, was established in 1957. It was formerly referred to as Department of Antiquities. So, well, the journey so far has been interesting. because we are here, to showcase our cultural heritage, not just to the country but to the world. And we have series of events that we do, that involve the community. And because of that, we create that awareness that this is where you can come and, see and feel your cultural heritage, your traditions, your history. Because it is said that a people without a history is a people without identity. So the museum portrays this to the people. And over the years, that is what we've been doing. Through education, community participation, we have galleries, that we display some of our objects, our antiquities, that showcase our patrimony and all there is to know about our cultural inheritance. And so the museum, has been doing that over the years, and, we still keep doing more.
The Lagos National Museum was founded in July 1957 by English archaeologist Kenneth Murray, following the submission of architectural sketch in 1948 at a conference on museum policy in Nigeria. Kenneth Murray collected several traditional masks from Cross River State to display in the museum's early years, according to historical records. The primary purpose of structuring the museum was to preserve Nigeria's historical artifacts and cultural heritage. Fortunately, that vision has remained alive to this day. The museum serves as a significant tourist attraction for Lagos residents and international visitors alike, offering an immersive glimpse into the nation's past. Some of the remarkable artifacts currently on display at the museum include the bullet-ridden car in which former Nigerian head of state, General Murtala Muhammad, was assassinated, pictures of previous rulers and presidents of Nigeria from different eras, a diverse collection of cultural drums, tools, and ceremonial staffs from various ethnic groups, historical crowns and caps of revered traditional rulers symbolizing their power and authority, photographs of Queen Elizabeth II and her entourage during her visit to Nigeria, reflecting moments of colonial history.
It's so immense. Museum is a reminder of what the society is all about, because a number of us are missing the link. We don't even know the role, the significance of the society we find ourselves because of foreign influence. But when you come to museum, it will bring your mind back to the original habitat, the way of life of people, how things should be seen in the society, and how we should react to phenomenal changes in our environment. Basically, we'll be doing this work of educating the general public, not only Nigerians, over 20-something years here, and the impact has been so tremendous, to the point that what we do at the museum is in consonance with the curriculum of our institutions, from primary, nursery, primary, secondary, even tertiary, even people in their corporate organization. They deem it to come to National Museum anytime they feel like we are missing the link, we have missed a lot of things concerning the way of life of our forefathers. Even here, apart from that, we do have what is called seminar. We organize seminar for expatriates, for individuals. They come around on Wednesdays to come and listen and learn on cultural-based subjects.
I think it was great. I mean, I particularly like the circle of life that are presented in here, right? From birth to reincarnation to external influences. I think it gave a good history of Nigeria. I learned a lot about that. There seems to be some real big connection between Nigeria and and Benin in terms of the history that I wasn't totally aware of. I was able to see the different artifacts and stuff that were presented. So it was quite interesting. They did, I think, a pretty good job doing a comprehensive tour or comprehensive history of Nigeria and its culture and its surrounding areas.
A visit to the Lagos National Museum offers an enriching experience, transporting visitors back in time and allowing them to connect with Nigeria's rich and diverse history. The museum provides an opportunity to explore stories of resilience, artistry, and governance that have shaped the nation. Whether you are a history enthusiast, a student, or simply a curious traveler, stepping into this museum promises a nostalgic journey through Nigeria's past, fostering a deeper appreciation for its cultural legacy. Nigeria continues to reflect the stories that shapes its people, steadfast in its commitment to promoting history and preserving its cultural values for generations to come. Grace Komalafe, SOUQ Perspective.
Thank you so much. I think the bill is a good one for Nigeria. And I think that the bill will be a catalyst for business to thrive in Nigeria. So my position and my perspective to the bill would be that it will be a very positive one for Nigeria going forward. If eventually the bill scales through the legislative processes and it have actually eventually become a law. So that would be my position. Thank you. Yeah, the bill will help business in different areas. Let me mention, for instance, the payee is part of cost for a business. It's part of staff cost. And for especially small businesses, which are the major backbone of the economy, the bill is proposing a reduction, that is proposing tax exemption for some category of lower staff cadre, which in essence is a cost reduction for businesses. So by that, it will help the business to thrive. Also, many people will come, by virtue of that, employ more people, which will bring a robust activity for the economy. And at the same time, there's some category of people that their tax will also be reduced compared to what is currently in operation. So it is a positive atmosphere for business. And when you look at it from the perspective of VAT too, you also see that there's going to be zero tax on some product. There's also going to be a tax exempt on some products, especially for masses, people, low-income earner. So some certain products, they're going to be exemption. There's some certain product that's going to be zero tax related. So by that, it will bring a more robust business activity. So by it, and then it will have positive effect on business and economy in general. Yeah, the argument is important. It's very, very important. But when you look at it, fix the small business, it will encourage more small business. And also, even the 50 million turnover is not a small thing for business, though it is still small relatively to the economic activity. But it is a plus, right? And again, for business that their activity are more than 15 million, then it's good that they should pay tax and contribute little as company income tax back to the economy. Now, if their taxes are used judiciously, they need to bring more infrastructure to the economy. Then there will be development in the country. Then we'll also be able to look at the advanced country. We envy them, we look at them that they are infrastructures in places, then these things are not cheap. They are not cheap. So, but the main focus for now is that is in a positive trend. It's a positive trend. I encourage that the bill should be passed and the implementation then should be followed so that it will bring a positive effect to the economic generally and the business will thrive going forward. Well, I don't see disadvantage, but I see challenge. Okay. Yeah, one of the things is that naturally, human beings were adverse to change. So if something is bringing a change, especially when you want to take us out of a comfort zone, we may not want to willingly agree with it. But for me, I think the positive and the benefits outweigh whatever probably challenge or the disadvantage we may envisage. So I still strongly believe that the bill is in the right direction for us. Okay, I think from the angle of the value-added tax, what I would like to say in that area is that it will help the lower income earners because, like I mentioned earlier, that there's some products that's going to be zero rated, which means that there is not going to be tax VAT on them. There are some that are totally tax VAT exempted, so which means that, and these products, they are products that are commonly, they are everybody really, but more of a masses low income earner will not, with the VAT that will have been paid on it will have been an impact on them, then it's taking off. So I think from that perspective is also a good and a welcome one. And it compared to what was proposed before, a general increase in the VAT rate across board. So this one is narrow it down to a particular area. So wherein it also exempt or puts zero rated on some products that are commonly used by the masses. So it's a positive direction. It's a good one. Yeah, okay. One, from the tax perspective, one of the very good things about this bill is that it allows that you claim input VAT. VAT is what you sell, what you buy. So the net effect of it is what you remit. Then this bill also helps to claim some expenses which currently is not in operation. So it's a positive one. Then again, you mentioned the increase in the VAT going forward. Well, let's appreciate that the increase is going to be gradual. That's one. Then two, let's also remember that the VAT, some of these products, they are not going to be with VAT again. That with common people like me and you, transport, there's not going to be VAT on it. Rent, no VAT on it. Food item, no VAT on it any longer. And many more. Health, no VAT on it any longer. So you can see that the VAT is going to be increased gradually, but it's not across board. So those basic that we know is every day is already been taken care of. So I think it should give it to the people that work on this bill. Thank you so much for that angle and the question. I want to say that Federal Inland Revenue Services, they are really trying. And I can tell you, there's no system that doesn't have its own challenge. But FRS, they are trying. And they are moving from those days of Alanok. Now we have tax promise. You can do your filing right from the comfort of your office. You don't need to visit their office except there is a challenge. Right? So they are doing well, but they are not yet at the best. So, and there is room for improvement. They are already deploying technology. So what they need to do is to scale up and up to the task. But currently, they are doing well. So they just need to improve. Yeah, well, it depends on the perspective you look at it. If is it shrinking? Yes, we have some companies that are no more within the soul of the Nigerian. So in that case, their taxes is no more coming to us. But again, look at other businesses that are springing forth. So definitely those are coming to the tax net. And then again, there are some companies that are not, businesses that are not in tax net. So through the use of technologies by FRS, they're already bringing them to tax net. So the tax net is increasing. So the net effect of it, you can say, is increasing. Though we have some that are leaving the soul of Nigeria. So net effect of it, the tax net is increasing. Because we have people that businesses that are coming to Nigeria, and we have people that are businesses that are already in Nigeria, but they are not in tax net, but they are already bringing them to tax net. So it's like they are looking at perspective of increasing the threshold from 25 million to 50 million, as the case may be. Yeah. So are they saying that government should also still be taxing 25 million threshold? So we should applaud the bill that give opportunity for businesses that their threshold is less than 50 million, as the case may be. So, but from that angle, if you are looking at it that the business is shrinking, I don't see from that angle. I see from the angle of if the business is doing well and you are not to pay tax, right? Then your business is becoming robust, then you exceed the 50 million threshold. Then you also come back to the tax to be paid. So it is a way of giving boost to the business. And by the time the business is doing well beyond that threshold, then they'll be able to give back to the society. So it's a win-win situation. It's like giving a kind of relief to a business for them to thrive. And when they become better, doing well, then it's an encouragement to business, which they will also come to the net after that. So it's a good one. The chairman of the year.
The chairman.
SOUQ.
Yes. How would you assess his performance so far?
Yeah, I think Mr. Sakios is a reformer. Yes. Looking at the step he has taken after assuming the office, and I also see that he's somebody that is listening. He has a close relationship with the former chairman of FRS. Probably he has learned some of things from him, challenges that he faced when he was there. So I think he's helping the current chairman. And if you look at the revenue they are getting, they are meeting up with the target. And at the same time, if you look at the staff, I don't see much of issues, challenges within them. So those are the indices that you can look at from the performance of a leader. Look at the staff that is leading. Look at the target, the businesses also. Are they failing? So I think he's doing well, but he can do better.
Well, thank you very much indeed. My name is Stephen Kola Balogun. I happen to be a lawyer, and should I call myself a pseudo-politician? Not quite a politician, but I've served in government before, and I'm delighted to be here. You know. Well, thank you very much. Well, yes, is it my family or the wider family? I mean, like I said, I'm the son of Chief Dr. Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Like I said, he was a former politician, a frontline politician. He was the General Secretary of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, later National Council of Nigerian Citizens. He was the General Secretary of that party for about 8 years. From there, he was appointed by SOUQ to become a federal minister. He was initially a federal minister without portfolio. Consequently, after that, he became acting minister for labor, social services, and then he became Nigeria's first federal minister for information in 1956. He held that portfolio to 1958. Thereafter, he resigned from government. He had disagreement with the party. And Tafawa Balewa felt that he was a useful politician that could be sent to Ghana. And he went to Ghana to find out what was. Ghana was a bit ahead of us in terms of politics at the time. And I think it's fair to say they got independence just before us. And Tafawa Balewa wanted someone to understudy, to find out what we're doing. So he sent Kola Balogun there. Initially, he was commissioner, and later, when we gained independence in 1960, he became high commissioner. Shortly after that, when we became independent, he yearned to come home. He wanted to take part in the new political atmosphere at the time. He asked the Prime Minister to relieve him, to let him come back, and he did come back home. And immediately he took up the position of being chairman of the National Shipping Line. That was the position he held on to until the military struck in 1966. But even then, when the military did strike in 1966, he still continued. I think General Debayo of blessed memory invited him to join his cabinet, and he served as a commissioner for about 3 years or more. I think he was commissioner for health and was commissioner for education. Later, he also became chairman of the sketch group of companies as well. And that was about it. I think after his stint in government, he decided to go and do a PhD at the University of Ibadan. And then he went back into private legal practice. And then he started this agitation for the creation of Osun State. He and a few others set up the movement. He was the chairman of the movement. And then to the glory of God, in 1991, Osun State was created. And that's it.
Tell us about mommy.
Well, yes, my mother. Well, in those days, the women were not so much in the forefront, But my mother has been my bedrock. She stood by me, and she has backed me in most of the things I've set out to do, And she's still alive. She's 89 this year, and she's still doing well, and she's still
and your wife
going
and
strong.
the kids?
Yes, my children. Yes, I have 3 girls. 3 daughters. My oldest is 31. You know, she studied at King's College London. She did reasonably well. She got a 7th class upper. Proud of her. She's now curator today. They have twin girls as well who are also in university now, that they haven't graduated yet. One of them is in Oxford University. She's studying history and politics. And the other is in Cambridge University. She's studying human, social, and political sciences. So, yeah. I did. I mean, my father, Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Yes, he was in the first cabinet in the First Republic, the first ever cabinet Nigeria had, and he served as the Federal Minister of Information and Research. As a matter of fact, he happened to be Nigeria's first information minister. Later, T.O.S. Benson, of course, became the independent Nigeria's first information minister, but independent Nigeria. But Nigeria's first ever information minister happened to be Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. No, I didn't. I took an opposite route from my father. My father went into politics straight immediately after he finished his education, and then he now ventured into law a little bit later. I decided to look at things differently. I thought that after academics I should practice law a bit, and that's what I've been doing. But at some point, I think that was in about 2011, I was called upon to serve in the Ocean State government as a commissioner, and I took up that opportunity, and I enjoyed myself. Well, I am in the sense that I'm 65 years old now, and I think it's fair to say that we belong to, well, I would say the first set, but one of those who benefited from Nigerian education. I schooled here. I went to secondary school in the West. I went to the University of Ife. Went to the Nigerian Law School. And I think it's fair to say that all the schools at that time were of high quality, produced top quality students who went on to make names for themselves, not just here in Nigeria, but also abroad. I think we still do that now, even though the standard of education has dropped. The sad thing about it is that Nigeria could have been a lot better in terms of the potential, because Nigeria does have a lot of potential. We do have very brilliant young men and women, you know, and I just think that if we had invested more in education, that we could have, the sky would have been the limit, actually. Well, my take on this is that it's the system of law itself. As a young lawyer, I experienced a few challenges myself, and I think one of the obvious challenges is the appeal structure. It's too easy to appeal against judgments. At the same time, when you file actions in court, there are no penalties for costs. In other words, I can file a frivolous action. I could insult you, as an example, and then you could sue me. And I say to myself, well, I'm going to eke it out. I'm going to take it. You're going to have to take me all the way to the Supreme Court. That doesn't make sense. That's not fair. On the other hand, I could also file a frivolous application against you. And then filing a frivolous application, I could call you something you are not. I could defame you. And in so doing, you expect at least that once you prove your case, that I will be made to pay the penalties for filing frivolous applications. But that doesn't happen. And then, of course, the conditions of the judges. I mean, the judges are still writing longhand. They do trials, they sit there, they listen to witnesses, give evidence, and they have to write all these things down longhand. So there's so many challenges that has hampered the progress of law. And there hasn't been enough investment, I must say. Well, I agree with that, and I'm going to give an example as to how that I think we could possibly do that. Now, the Supreme Court hears everything. It's the final court in Nigeria, so they're going to hear issues related to criminal law, civil matters, constitutional matters, as you know, all these matters that's got to do with elections, so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, when we have an election cycle, the legal system slows down because the judges are hampered. They're too busy listening to the various appeals from the various states and the federal government to do with the elections. So as a consequence, the other matters to deal with shipping, banking, criminal law are put on the back burner. I think we need what you call a constitutional court, whereby which the judges in the Supreme Court are divided. So you have those judges whose responsibility it is entirely to deal with constitutional matters, and then you have another set whose duty will be to deal with our shipping, banking, civil matters, criminal matters, and so on and so forth. So I believe it's high time Nigeria has a constitutional court to try and aid the Supreme Court with the workload they have, which is, quite frankly, quite a bit. Well, Nigerians, with respect, are very brilliant, very intelligent, and they are very aware. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a tailor, you're a driver, you're a lawyer, engineer, they are quite well informed. And the truth of the matter really is that this is the longest republic we've had. This republic started in 1999, and this is 2025, so 26 years. Nigeria has never had a republic this long. But the main flaw is the one you just mentioned. The fact that that constitution that was bequeathed to us by the military in 1999 was never really approved by the people. But that doesn't make sense, and that's unfair. In fairness, we ought to be able to look at the constitution, improve upon it, and put our own input into it. Now, there's a way around that, and I've always believed, many people oppose this, but I'm of the view that what Nigerians need to have is a referendum. Have a referendum to ask the Nigerian people whether they want to persist with the 1999 constitution, or do they want to drop a new one. If the answer to that question is yes, we want to drop a new constitution, then that puts paid to the 1999 constitution, and then you can now have a system, a constituent assembly, whatever the case may be, where people will sit around the table and fashion out a new constitution. If the people say no, that means I've indirectly approved the 1999 constitution, and then we continue with it. But what we can't do is continue having this debate, these arguments as to whether the 1999 constitution has been approved by Nigerians or not, because it has not been. So I think the way around that is to ask the Nigerian people through a referendum, asking them whether they want to persist with this constitution. If they say no, then we have a new one. If they say yes, we continue with the old one. And that ends the debate. Every system has its merits. Every system has its advantages and disadvantages. To some extent, the presidential system of government has its advantage. It has the advantage in the sense that it has brought government nearer to the people. So the people of Osun, from where I'm from, for instance, now, have their own state. Same thing can be said, it's been replicated across the country. However, the drawbacks, the disadvantage is the fact that it's extremely expensive. Now, look at Nigeria, for instance, now. We have 36 state governments. So that means we have 36 governments in Nigeria. If you add the government of Abuja, if you add the federal government, that's 38. Now, each one of these governments have some form of legislature, judiciary, an executive as well, local government, civil service. It's too expensive. Look, in America, where we borrowed this system from, the states came together to form a union. This is totally different. We are doing it the opposite way. So we've had a structure that we're now going back. So at the end of the day, many of the state governments are still dependent on the federal government. And as a consequence, the kind of progress we ought to be making, we're not quite making it. So I personally, and this is a personal view because others would disagree, I would prefer that we reduce the size of government by having some kind of regional structure. And I believe that will reduce the burden of governments. And if we can reduce the burdens of government, we can use this money to do many other things. And I also think it will also improve standards as well. Not just standards of government or parliamentary standards or whatever the case may be, but there'll be less people involved in the political system. And that would help us a great deal. Well, I think it's fair to say that since 1999, we haven't had any new state creation. I know there's been agitation for the creation of states, but there hasn't been any. The process for creating a state is quite cumbersome. It's not easy. I think it's in Section 8 and 9 of the Constitution. I don't think it's something we should be looking at. I think, like I said to you earlier, I think we should be trying to reduce the number of states, and I think some kind of regional structure whereby which we can monitor better what's going on rather than having more states. So I personally would not encourage the creation of more states, no. In the 1950s, we had 3 regions, if I'm correct. Those regions were the West, the East, and the North. We had the colony of Lagos, but if I'm right, I think it was the MacPherson Constitution, I think it is, I'm not too sure, that now put Lagos under the Western region. Now, when Lagos was placed under the Western region, lots of people were not happy about that. I remember my father was in the NCNC. The NCNC people were not particularly pleased. Neither were the NPC. Because they felt that Lagos belonged to everybody. Like you said, lots of people from different walks of life, different tribes, different backgrounds, and all schooled. I mean, Zik schooled in Lagos. He went to MBHS. So it was the issue was sent to London to arbitrate. I think it was Oliver Littleton that arbitrated over the matter. And it was decided that Lagos should stand on its own, that Lagos should not be merged with any of the regions. And that was how Lagos was able to free itself from the shackles of the Western region. It's fair to say that the position of the NCNC was actually argued in London by my father. That's why I'm quite familiar with this. But talking about Lagos, when the military, after that, we had what you called a minister for Lagos. I think there was Ribadu, and I think there was one other person, but I think it was Yaradua, not the same Yaradua, but his father. And then later after that, when the military struck, they created the state of Lagos. So the issue of giving Lagos special status has more or less been taken over by events. Lagos is a state, and as a state, it's still home to different people with different backgrounds, from different tribes, and it's thriving. I think it's fair to say that Lagos is probably the most prosperous state in the country. And it's just a question of its continuing with good governance and improving the strides they have made. Once again, let's go back to the past. we had what we used to call the House of Chiefs, wasn't it? And in those House of Chiefs, many of the members of the House of Chiefs were people, were traditional rulers, chiefs from different backgrounds, and they had a say in the running of the affairs of state. It's like it was more or less akin to the House of Lords. So it wasn't necessarily the chamber whereby which the activities of day-to-day governance took place, but they could always refer issues to them. And I think that if we change our structure of governance, and if, that's a big if, then yes, we can have something like that. We can have a second chamber, which is more or less advisory in nature, similar to the House of Lords, whereby which we will have obas and chiefs and people of influence who will be able to advise government from day to day from the experiences and the way forward, but not necessarily binding. I think that's important. That decisions won't necessarily be binding on us, but at least they'll be able to share their views and experiences with the people. That's a big issue. I was commissioner for youth in Osun about 10 years ago under Rauf Aregbesola, and it was an issue we took quite seriously. In Osun State, we had quite a number of youths who were unemployed, and the governor thought, what can I possibly do to give them something to do, to keep them employed? So he created what we call the Osun State Youth Empowerment Scheme. Now, under the State Youth Empowerment Scheme, unemployed youths were given particular tasks in the state. Help us sweep the roads. Some were part-time lecturers. Some were doing all sorts of things. They were given a stipend. It wasn't a full-blown salary. Or the salary, although the stipend was enough to keep them to be able to buy things, to be able to buy themselves drinks and food, and kept them occupied until they could find themselves a job. And I think the federal government could follow that kind of scheme, set up a youth empowerment scheme whereby which unemployed youths are given things to do. There's so many things that need to be done in Nigeria. There's so many gaps whereby which the youths can help do that. In the interim, while they find themselves something more gainful or something more permanent. So it's a question, it's for government to do. It's for government to think of a way of helping out the youths. And of course, there should be partnerships, a partnership between the government and private enterprise to try and encourage them to take on more of our youths, and not necessarily those who have schooled abroad, who they think are probably the best in terms of employment. No, we have many here who can do a good job as well. Sustaining democracy is about discipline. It's about the people being disciplined. It's about those who rule us being disciplined. I started out by telling you that this is the longest government we've had. It's the longest republic we've had. We've had democracy now since 1999, 26 years. If you go back to the days of independence, there's been no republic that has been this long. So it shows that the people have embraced democracy. They've come to it's part of us now. They've come to enjoy it. Yes, there are hiccups in terms of the fact that we could do a lot better in terms of how we implement things. But in terms of the people yearning for democracy and imbibing it, I think we've done very well. And what we just need to do is just to try and perfect it. One of the ways, like I said much earlier, is to perhaps take a second look at the Constitution, see where areas where we can improve, and try and make people happy, and at the same time reduce the cost of governance. But I don't think democracy is going anywhere. I think it's here to stay.
My name is Muiba Wonu Folami, an indigenous of Lagos State, Ikorodu, to be specific. I was born in Lagos 86 years ago, and to the glory of God, I'm still alive and well, and trying to be a relative in the cause of women. I attended primary school. I started at Ansarudin Alakuru School. From there to CMS Girls School, and then Queen's College, Lagos. From Queen's College, I went to the Portsmouth College of Technology for my A-levels, and then University of London for my first degree in law. The same university for my master's degree in law. I had, between obtaining my master's and my first degree, I was in Nigeria to do the mandatory law school course. I was one of the last people to do a 3-month course before it was changed to 1 year. And then went back to England for my master's. And from there to lecture at the University of Zambia. Back to Nigeria, I was appointed by Dr. Taslim Elias, the CJ of Nigeria, to the Commission for Advance Notice to Lawyers of Developments in Law. It was a commission funded by the Ford Foundation to keep lawyers abreast of the developments in law. I was a director there. Then from there, I was admitted to the Federal Ministry of Justice. Right after being legal advisor to many ministries, I ended up as the Director of Public Prosecutions for the Federation. And after that, whilst I was the Director of DPP, I was appointed Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State. After retirement, I've been involved in social work, in religion. I've always had religion, but I spend more time on religion. I read, I watch telly, and I live a good life, to the glory of God. You see, when you begin to think that it was not until 2007 that women started to get equal pay in tennis tournaments. And it was something that was fought for. Little things like that does not add to equality. But when it was done, it may be small, but at work, even at work in employment, women are still discriminated against. And most women do 2 jobs. They look after the home, and they do the normal work that a man does in an office. Why I fail to understand this inequality in the treatment of women is that the work, the responsibilities in the workplace is not reduced for women, even though we do not want to be paid the same salary as men. It's a fight that has continued, and in that area, I think we need to do more to push for more recognition. Women have contributed immensely to the society. The men that are now resisting equal pay were brought up by women. That's what I do not understand, that they can think like that. We continue to push.
But how can we speed this up?
By bringing it to the attention of world powers, recognition by every country of equal opportunities, equal pay. I want to know, I want somebody to explain to me the jobs that women cannot do.
Yeah.
They've contributed immensely. Even in the new thing, IT, we're at par with men. So I do not see the reason for it. Unfortunately, I did not experience it, because when I left university, I practiced law briefly in my uncle's chambers before I went to University of Zambia as a lecturer. There, my position was enhanced in the sense that I was a foreigner and I got all the benefits of being a foreigner, serving in their service. Fortunately, in Nigeria today, the federal government does not discriminate in terms of salaries. Whether you're a man or a woman, you get the same salary scale. And you are promoted on equal basis. Kudos to the federal government, to Nigeria for that. But in the private sector, things are different. In some companies, this is the areas that we have to work on, because the job content is the same. Some of these facilities are available in Nigeria. I learned by being a member of the Society for the Disabled that every government body must admit a certain percentage of women and of disabled people. Most times this opportunity is not taken. They are bound to employ them. We continue to push for that to be implemented in most ministries. It's important because it's there. You have to take a certain percentage of disabled people to work in government positions. It's important that we work to enforce that rule in our society. When it comes to discrimination, Nigeria is way, way ahead of some developed countries, because maybe because through slavery, we faced discrimination right from the beginning. We now know how to resist it. But in my country, Nigeria, in the federal government, in the state government, there is no discrimination. It may happen in private organizations, but they must continue to push to let them understand that the job content is the same. Well, you see, traditionally, under our culture, women are in the other room. To borrow the quotation.
Yeah.
That's our society, that's our culture. it's going to take a long time to evolve. In my time, female education was not so-called popular. It's only the educated few that strove to send their children to school, their girl child to school. They end up trading with their mothers or going to market and getting married off early. But as education began to rise in our community, its value was seen by my parents and others of their contemporaries to educate the girl child. And I believe the society is benefiting from that. Amen. So we must continue to push for the education of women, of girls. I have thought that, when I read that, the certain state government has appointed look at our National Assembly, 4 women in the Senate. Isn't that shameful? And that is the society. We have to continue to push women up. Let these political parties know that we want women. Let us organize ourselves to continue to vote for women massively. I give kudos to our governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. His cabinet women is well represented in his cabinet. And I enjoy that, I love him for that. And I continue to urge him to do more. He's done a lot. I think Lagos State has the largest representative of women in cabinet. First of all, they have to project themselves in their office space, their workspace. Let everybody know that they are equal to the task. Let us organize. There's a lot of society groups and societies that cater for the interest of women. I believe now violence against women is reducing in the society because there are sanctions for such behavior. I must say that speaking to the organization in charge of violence against women, I was amused to learn that some men come there to complain and that they are also being violated and abused.
Yes, it's a two-way thing.
It's a two-way thing. So that is reducing our society. Education of the girl child is important. We have to let the locals know that education is important. Let them showcase to them the lives of those who have been educated and who are holding high positions. I'm glad that our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has returned history to the classrooms. It's important. Let them know about people that have contributed to the development of our societies and country. It's important. Yes, it's education. It's education. Once people are educated and they know that there is nothing a man can do that a woman cannot do when it comes to the workplace. We have women engineers, miners, and also all over. Give me a job specific. that a woman cannot do. Then I changed my views. So the moment you begin to upgrade education, let government now continue to vote more for education. I don't believe we are doing enough. There is a UN convention, and I think Nigeria is part of that convention, that a certain amount of a nation's income should be devoted to education. I'm not sure whether Nigeria is complying with that. But some states are better than others. And we must, education, I believe in education of the girl child. Some states now are taking children, girls off the street. Walking is completely prohibited. Things like that will help. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we are not advanced enough to use our votes to change things. We are still not voting for individuals. We are voting for parties, irrespective of performance. Education will help. And when we join other nations for the same purpose, we get results. Our organizations who are fighting for women in Nigeria should join worldwide organizations to showcase our own situation and learn. I believe that when you talk to others, you come back with ideas on how to improve things. So we must improve things by telling women in positions to show, to continue to prove that they are more than up to the task. It will not come to us on a platter of gold. We must show by our actions and behavior that we are up to the task. Of course, some women are wrong in claiming equal rights to their husbands in the house. I completely abhor that behavior. Even though they are husband and wife, the man in my culture remains the head. He should be respected. His views should be respected. It's only now the condition of living is so high that you join the two incomes together to run the house. In the past, it was the men that ran the house to pay for everything. Maybe some of these women are thinking that because they are contributing a quota to the development, that they have equal rights. Yes, they have equal rights in the upbringing of the children, in their homes and everything. But respect is important. That will keep the home, and the children will learn and imbibe it into their own children too. Equal right does not, in my view, mean that you can be rude, can not submit to your husband's wishes. Equal rights means something differently. Respect comes out of it. It's important. I go out and I'm like appalled at the way women dress. There's a competition to show as much of your body, to do as much of your body that you can. It's absolutely disgusting. They're not women. They're no longer women. the exposure, things that if you did in my time, a member of the community will cover you with a cloth and send you home. Because community mattered at that time. You dare not misbehave outside your compound because this community is watching you and reprimanding you if you go wrong, if you behave badly outside. That is lost. And that is why you see people, even their dressing, show disrespect to womanhood and to themselves and to the community. We must learn, teach our children etiquette of dressing, speech, how to think and speak in a decent manner. We don't have it anymore. We're losing it, and it's shameful because people are appreciating naked women on the streets. Both sides. If people dress badly and you tell them and ignore them, they won't try the next time. For instance, I believe nobody can dress to come to my house or to come to my party like a naked woman. I will turn her back. I will turn her back. So that's the type of thing that we should all do. Let the people doing this know that we do not appreciate things like this. When the society itself corrects it, we must correct it individually. If their parents cannot correct it, we must, by ignoring them and not allowing them to come near us. Show our women that have contributed to the society. Show them, showcase them, showcase them.
Yeah.
We have the first woman senior advocate of Nigeria. We have Okonjo. We have, in the UN. We have all sorts. We have what's this pharmaceutical woman? She's done so much. The younger ones are there. Little ones like Shadi Okoya is managing her husband's company and doing well. Let's encourage them. They are young. The young ones, they are working to improve the society. There's so many of them out there. We should showcase them. Let them know that we have women who are of top quality, intelligent, and well-behaved, and they dress well. Dressing well is dressing in a manner that is appealing to the eyes, not nakedness. That's my darling, this new CJN of Nigeria.
Okay.
Who do that? I did talk about Kikili. I mean, we're there. Female CJN. Yeah. And there are so many female chief judges all over the Federation. There are so many in the medical profession, in the engineering profession. We have pilots. So let them know that there is nothing that a woman cannot do. In IT, in everything, women are moving forward. We should showcase them. We should let their pictures be seen in our newspapers, in our news, in everything, to encourage young girls that you too can get there. If they don't see, and if they don't know the history of these women, how they got there, they too will not be inspired. We have to inspire the young people with the achievements of women achievers. Kekere rose from magistrate to right to the top. I admire her. She's well composed, well behaved. Some of these people, when they become something, they lose their heads. They start to, no, she's so respectful, well behaved, well dressed. I don't think she would allow herself or her children to come out naked. Never. So people like that, Okonjo well are the same. We have a lot.
Jim Ovia, one of the most influential and successful businessmen in Nigeria, who has made a mark in the financial system. He is the founder and chairman of Zenith Bank, one of Africa's largest and most profitable banks. He has been described by Forbes Africa as the godfather of banking in Nigeria.
My name is Jim Ovia. I'm chairman of Zenith Bank, and I thank you all for listening to me.
This illustrious son of Africa was one of the financial leaders who revolutionized the banking sector in Nigeria. Let's take a close look into the life, background, career, and achievements of this enigma, Jim Ovia. Jim Ovia was born on November 4, 1951 in Agbo, Delta State, Nigeria, to a large family as the second son of Chief Obi Olihe of Agbobi in Delta State. Being one from a humble background, Jim attended local schools as he had lost his father at the tender age of 4. His widowed mother, together with his older brother, saw him through school. He had secondary education at Ika Grammar School in Agbo. Due to his interest in business and technology, he proceeded to the United States to study business administration at Southern University, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, USA, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in 1977. He furthered to University of Louisiana, Monroe, Louisiana, and bagged a master's degree in business administration in 1979. Jim Ovia is also an alumnus of the prestigious Harvard Business School. Jim Ovia worked briefly as a clerk in Union Bank in 1973 before proceeding for tertiary studies. Upon acquiring immense business knowledge from international institutions, he returned to Nigeria, his home country, and began a career in banking. He continued at this for years, working for banks such as Lion Bank, Merchant Bank of Africa, and International Merchant Bank. After many years in the banking industry, in 1990, Jim came together with some colleagues to found one of Africa's largest and most profitable bank, Zenith Bank. The bank was established with a vision to provide excellent customer service, innovative and technology-driven banking. Zenith Bank flourished as it drew customers who sought excellence in financial services. What started with an asset of $4 million and about 50 staff has grown into over $24 billion in assets and shareholders' funds of more than $3 billion as of June 2022. Zenith Bank is listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and London Stock Exchange. Jim Ovia served as Zenith Bank's Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director from 1990 to 2010, and then Chairman from 2010 to 2014. After a brief break, he returned as Chairman of the bank in 2016 and remains so till date. Under his leadership, Zenith Bank has grown to become one of the leading banks in Nigeria and Africa, standing tall among some of Nigeria's first-generation banks of repute, a feat rare for second-generation banks established in a time of tension between military and civilian regimes and economic instability.
We will build our own roads to our branches if we're building branches in some cities, towns where the roads are not good enough. We have also bought power plants, generating sets to power electricity into our building. When we do all this, we also even had dug borehole to supply water to the building. When we do all this, what I personally call it is BYOI, bring your own infrastructure or build your own infrastructure.
Jim Ovia served as Zenith Bank's Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director from 1990 to 2010, and then Chairman from 2010 to 2014. After a brief break, he returned as Chairman of the bank in 2016 and remains so till date. Under his leadership, Zenith Bank has grown to become one of the leading banks in Nigeria and Africa, standing tall among some of Nigeria's first-generation banks of repute, a feat rare for second-generation banks established in a time of tension between military and civilian regimes. Zenith Bank has diversified its services to include insurance, pensions, stockbroking, and investment banking. The bank has won awards and recognition for its performance, governance, innovation, and social responsibility, inspired by its chairman's belief in giving back to community.
Really, it's my special pleasure, my honor indeed, for this opportunity offered by AAI to be awarded in the category of Business Leadership Award for 2017.
As an entrepreneur, Jim Ovia has made investments in sectors other than banking. They include oil and gas, telecommunication, real estate, power generation, media, and most recently, education. He is the founder and chancellor, James Hope University, Lekki, Lagos State, which has been approved by the National Universities Commission, NUC, to offer postgraduate degrees in business courses. Jim Ovia is a man who believes in giving back to society. He has engaged in philanthropic works through his foundations, Mankind United to support total education, MUSTE, and Youth Empowerment, ICT Foundation. These foundations award scholarships to indigenous students and promote information and communication technology in Nigeria through various initiatives. Ovia has made donations towards courses and institutions. They include Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, Nigerian Internet Group, NIG, Lagos State University, and National Information Technology Advisory Council, just to mention a few. recognition of his contributions, Jim Ovia is a recipient of many honors and awards. In 2012, the University of Benin awarded him an honorary doctorate degree. Former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2022 conferred him with the national honor of the Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR. Also in 2022, Jim Ovia was conferred with the National Productivity Order of Merit, NPOM award, by the federal government of Nigeria. Jim Ovia is a proud member of the World Economic Forum, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, and the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He is also a member of several boards and councils.
We can't afford to lose depositors' money. We can't afford to lose money that belongs to stakeholders. So you must structure your industry in such a way that the best are nothing but the best are there.
As chairman of Zenith Bank with more than 9% stake, Jim Ovia in 2015 was estimated by Forbes to have a net worth of $550 million. This net worth obviously has been surpassed since then. Jim Ovia, as a business person, founded 5 companies. They are Zenith Bank PLC, the Quantum Group, Visaphone Communications, Quantum Luxury Properties, Civic Center Towers, and Cyberspace Network. Jim is member, Honorary International Investors Council. Kay Ovia is CEO, Quantum Markets Limited, a firm that offers stock brokerage services. She sits on the board of several organizations and is chairman, board of directors of Cyberspace Limited, a leading software engineering company. Cyberspace Limited is one of the pioneers in provision of internet services in Nigeria, providing network and software services. Kay, being at the head of a tech giant in Nigeria, teamed up with her husband, Jim, to strategically deploy robust IT infrastructure at Zenith Bank, which resulted in the development of digital products and technology-driven banking in Nigeria. Kay is an alumnus of Enugu State University of Technology, SOUQ, where she holds an MBA in management. She is much given to philanthropy, with several initiatives to transform lives, particularly those of the underprivileged. One of her projects targeted at children and youths, Star Rising Talent Hunt, aims at discovering and projecting hidden talents. Jim is married to businesswoman and philanthropist Kay Ovia. She's also a hotelier, proudly running Starwood Hotels. Jim and Kay Ovia are blessed with 5 children: Isioma, Zephyr, Tito, Tommy, and Jesse. As a family man, Ovia enjoys spending time with his family. He also likes reading and traveling. In order to pass on his vast wealth of knowledge on business and finance to African entrepreneurs, Jim Ovia authored a book titled Africa, Rise and Shine. The book was published in 2018 by Forbes Books. The book was written after he featured in an issue of Forbes, and it became the magazine's best-selling edition in Africa, that it had to be reprinted 4 times. The book, Africa Rise and Shine, paints the picture of his humble beginning from the small town of Agbo in Delta State, and against all odds, pushed through to become a global business icon, while providing insight on how to conquer challenges in African markets, taking advantage of the opportunities. The man, Jim Ovia, is a firm believer of Africa being a continent abundant with natural and human resources. He has constantly pitched the continent as a land filled with investment opportunities in international business forums such as the Harvard Business School Annual Africa Business Conference, Bloomberg Global Business Forum, Commonwealth Business Forum, and the World Economic Forum, where he has been invited to participate and even deliver keynote address. Jim Ovia remains one of the pride of Africa and a great contributor to Nigeria's economy and the financial landscape in Africa.
A drop makes a hole in a stone, not by force, but by consistent dripping. Nothing describes this woman more apt than her indomitable and consistent drive for excellence. Born Bilikisu Abiodun Moturayo Omobalanle Adekola on December 24, 1962, into the family of Alhaji Abdulmoshood Adekola, the first grandson of the first Alhaji in the city of Ibadan, and a Cameroonian mother, Mrs. Hannah Aduke Adekola, in the ancient city of Ibadan, Oyo State. While her mother was still pregnant with her, left for England to further his education. And while she was pretty much young, her mother left the country to go join her husband to return while she was 8 years. Meanwhile, she was left to be cared for by her grandmother. She was registered in a private boarding primary school at the age of 4.
My parents had me. My father went off to England to go to school before I was born. He left my mother pregnant with me. My mother had me, and before I was a year old, left to join her husband in England, and I was left with my grandmother. I grew up with my grandmother before my parents came back like 8 years after. Spent my first, from at age 4 or 5, I was sent into a boarding nursery school. I lived in boarding school at a very early age because my parents wanted to protect me from becoming a local Ibadan girl.
And she usually attributes these to her early independence and wisdom. Omo Agbanimi, some of her friends sometimes poke fun at her wisdom, which is way beyond her age.
I was raised by my grandmother, so I'm a bit of an old woman in my brain, in how I think, as my friends say.
Her foray into business started at a very young age at her grandmother's shop where she sells salt. Little did she know that this was going to stand her in good stead in life.
My first exposure to business was my grandmother's little shop where she sold salt. And I used to love to sit behind her little kiosk and help her to sell the salt. But who knew I was being trained for business in my future?
While at secondary school, she participated in the literary debating group, excelling in it, which made her consider a career in law, though that didn't last. Also, it is worthy of note that Ibukun Awoshika could hold her own in athletics, earning her the nickname Rabbit because she could really run.
As an athlete, if you want to run, and I used to be fast, they used to call me the Rabbit.
Unsure of what career path she was going to settle for, she considered becoming many things at one point or the other of her life. After secondary school, she thought of becoming a medical doctor, but she couldn't stand the sight of a cadaver, so she let go of that idea. Later on, architecture was another fancy that caught her attention. Similarly, she also considered becoming a chartered accountant. Finally, only see she could work in a bank.
I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Then I found out that they work with real dead bodies. I changed my mind very quickly. I then thought, you know what? I'd like to be an architect. I was good in sciences and had a problem if parents sentence you to science when you're good at both. So I ended up in Ife to study chemistry. By the end of my first year, I realized how much I hated chemistry. I could pass it, but I didn't love it. So then I thought, you know, I'd make a good lawyer. I debated throughout school. I used to represent my school in school's debate. So everybody knows that I can win an argument. So I gave it everything trying to change to law. I used to go and sit outside the door of the dean of law. And then one day the man said, come, what do you want? I want to change to law. Is that why you've been sitting outside of my office? Yes, sir. Okay, if I only take one person from another department next year, it will be you.
After the completion of her undergraduate degree at the University of Ife, she went for the compulsory one-year National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, in Kano State, where she worked as an audit trainee at Akitola Williamson Co., which later became Deloitte.
For youth service, I did everything to make sure they sent me to an accounting firm. They first sent me to a Muslim school to go and teach. That was easy to solve. I just wore a dress off my shoulder. I went to report. I was immediately rejected. Once they rejected me, I went back to the posting room and waited there for days until they sent me to Akintola Williams & Co.
Although she was later given full employment after a service year, she felt becoming an accountant wasn't a thing.
You would have thought that having gone through all that trouble, accounting would be the love of my life. When I got there, within the 1 year of my youth service, I realized how boring accounting is to me. Because they had all the processes somebody else had thought about before. All I had to do was open old dusty files from company to company without imagination or initiative. I'm a very restless human being. That was not going to work. So I finished the work. I did well. They offered me permanent employment, but I said, thank you, but no thank you. Why? Because at that moment, I had come to a realization that that was not the vision for my life.
After returning home, she joined Alibert Nigeria Limited, a furniture company, as showroom manager. In a word, only to kill time. She only stayed for 3.5 months. She left to begin a furniture manufacturing company called Quibis Limited in 1989, just a month before her 26th birthday. The company later grew into SOUQ Chair Center Limited, following a venture merger with SOUQ SA and Guarantee Trust back in 2004.
But the first job I could find 1 week after was in a furniture company. So I went there to kill time. My kill time project has resulted in 30 years of investment of my life in building a manufacturing group in furniture. So it was never the plan of my life. So some of you will accidentally find your purpose.
One could only wonder what had led her not only to compete, but to thrive in a male-dominated terrain. With over 30 years in business, Ibukun Awoshika is a woman to reckon with, encouraging more women to participate in the business terrain. Her passion to see the girl child not just to be educated, but much more to learn to own our own value and trade with it when there is need for it. Her lifelong ambition is to see herself die empty.
My biggest ambition in life is to die empty. Totally empty. That no talents, no giftings, no opportunities, nothing that I was born to do, that I have the capacity to do, that I do not do.
Following her remarkable achievements, she's been conferred with different doctorates, including one in business, entrepreneurship, and human capacity development from the Lagos State University, Ojo. Similarly, she was given a honorary doctorate of business administration from the Obafemi Awolowo University and another from the Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye, Ogun State. Apart from our entrepreneurial prowess, Ibukun Awoshika is an ordained minister of the gospel, a presenter, writer, and a TV host.
The Bible tells us that let every man be what? A liar. And let who alone be true? Let God alone be true.
She hosts a television program called Business His Way. Also, she acted in the 2020 Kunle Afolanyo movie titled Citation, which in addition to the books she had written, including Business His Way, The Girl Entrepreneur, The Girls in the Boardroom, and My Thoughts in Codes. In 2004, she earned a certification in Business Administration and Management from the IESE Business School. She's also the chairperson of the Novel Nigeria Office for Philanthropy and Impact Investment. She has consistently encouraged women to take up more leadership positions without compromising their values and integrity. In 2005, she was appointed the MD CEO of SOUQ SA of France, GTB PLC, the Chair Center Limited, and some local investors after the ban of the importation of furniture by the federal government of Nigeria in 2004. Furthermore, it is noteworthy to note that she independently established another ultra-modern furniture facility, Furniture Manufacturers Mart in Ikeja, Lagos. In 2008, she was among 5 Nigerian entrepreneurs who appeared in the first African version of The Dragon's Den. Unlike a great deal of others who knew exactly what they wanted to do from the beginning, she admitted to accidentally finding purpose. Ibukun Awoshika is a member of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, a member of the board of Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Fund, a former chairperson of the board of trustees of Women in Management, Business and Public Service, and a member of the IESC's International Advisory Board. Furthermore, she sits on the board of Digital Jura Limited and Cabri Nigeria PLC. Additionally, she's a fellow of the African Leadership Initiative and Aspen Global Leadership Network. History was made on the 7th day of September 2015. Following the resignation of Prince Ajibola Afonja, she became the first female chair of the First Bank of Nigeria in its 126 years of existence. Ibukun Awoshika's Octo-Nigerian father, Abdul Moshood Adekola, who was a great influence in her life, passed on the 20th April 2020 after serving the Lord as an usher at the Fountain of Life Church in Lukbeju. He was a Muslim convert. He was converted few days before his 60th birthday. She got married on her 28th birthday to Abiodun Awoshika, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Excel Exploration and Production Company Limited, and they are blessed with 3 fine young men, Oludola, Olufishika, and Olamiposi. To celebrate a life of impact at 60, friends and mentees surprised Awoshika by building the Ibukun Awoshika Sports Center at our beloved secondary school, Methodist Girls High School, Yaba, Lagos. This project took about 6 months to complete and had some of our mentees like Tara Durutoye, Ndidi Okuanu, Chichi Nwoko, and Bisola Runsewe. They marshaled it alongside a team of other successful people. She stands like Joshua upon the pinnacle of the Horeb, looking to command an army of a new generation of women entrepreneurs that wouldn't stop at anything to achieving their God-given dreams. For her, she believes that regardless of how illustrious her career is and how successful she could ever get in life, her family and husband remain the most important gift in her life. Ibukun Awoshika.
When most Nigerians hear about anti-graft agencies, fear is the first response, anxiety over investigations, raids, or sanctions. But the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is showing a more collaborative face, one that seeks engagement and partnership to foster integrity across public institutions. The message came to the fore during a courtesy visit to the National Orthopedic Hospital, Igbobi, Lagos, where the ICPC Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner for Lagos State, Alexander Chukura, led a strategic conversation on collaboration, ethics, transparency, and institutional accountability, received by the hospital's acting medical director, Dr. Wakil Lawal. The visit focused on sensitizing management and staff on the importance of ethical conduct and risks of practices that might attract the Commission's attention.
ICPC is the police of public agencies. I want to break it down the way you understand it. What we mean is that we police MDAs to make them adopt global best practices. However, it is a known fact that one person cannot serve at attention and start well. For crime or for corruption to be consummated by the public officer, most of the time you find people from the outside, they contact us. They are not public officers, they are not true. I'm on the same page. So essentially, the ICPC is the police of public agencies. What is really corruption? Can someone attempt? Or the writers go ahead. And what they want, which one we prefer? Okay, let me go ahead. There are that complex term, corruption, has been seen by different people at different times from different perspectives. But I'm going to still break it down. Corruption aptly refers to an abuse or a misuse of position of public trust to confer an unfair and undue advantage to oneself, to one's relative, or proxy, which may not necessarily be financial. Anything you do to abuse or to misuse that position of public trust for your own gain and for others is corruption. So, what I'm saying here is that if we have that at the back of our mind, and ICPC is the police of the public agencies, what about the EFCC? The EFCC came after ICPC for purposes of specialization, economic and financial crime.
A key moment of the engagement was an open question and answer session where concerns were raised about perceived bias in enforcement, particularly when some political actors appear untouched, while public servants are often held accountable. The Commissioner clarified that the ICPC investigates based on issues and petitions, not status.
while he noted the section of Nigeria's constitution which offers temporary immunity to certain office holders. He stated that this immunity elapses once they leave office, after which credible petitions are duly investigated. The leadership of the hospital present were also encouraged to see the ICPC not as a threat, but as an ally in strengthening systems and protecting public trust. Chukura emphasized that internal mechanism is not enough in fighting corruption. Rather, it requires alignment with global best practices. He urged public institutions to adopt transparent documentation and compliance protocols, stating that the absence of proper records can be just as detrimental as misappropriation of funds.
I was able to address some areas of concerns and also improve our knowledge on things that we actually don't take cognizance of. More importantly, in some situations, the officers or the executive or the head may not necessarily committed any offense. But from your statement today, I would deduct that keeping good record is also as important as not being corrupt. And so this is also things that I want some of my colleagues and myself to also learn from. ICPC or EFCC will not be there when we are getting transaction.